Randa Markos versus Kanako Murata. We got minus 130 on Bet DSI for Murata and plus 108 for Randa Markos. But it does seem like there's been a little bit of steamage coming on through Bet Online, where we got minus 163 for Murata and plus 143 for Randa Markos. So let's start off with Randa Markos, who's coming off a very unfortunate unfortunate loss over Mackenzie Dern. That one was a very tough one because leading up to that fight, all she could talk about was, I need to stay away from the grappling. It shouldn't be too hard for me to stay away from the grappling. And what the fuck does she do? We see Mackenzie Dern slip, I believe it is, and Randa Markos follows her to the feet and gets wrapped up. And then a couple minutes later, she gets armbarred. Man, I like speechless, absolutely speechless. Obviously, I didn't put any money on Randa Markos there, but like when people initiate so easily with Mackenzie Dern in the realm that she wants to get engaged in, it's ridiculous. Just like Hannah Cyphers, who arguably had way more success than Randa Markos did have in that fight before she ended up falling Dern to the ground. Like, I don't know what the hell people are thinking when they're fighting Dern and willingly stepping into her guard and willingly engaging in the grappling realm. It's nothing but bad news if you decide so. And if you think you're going to go in there and out grapple my girl Mackenzie Dern, you're in for a long night, or even a short night and possibly a broken limb, or choked out unconscious. But we know what Randa Markos' game is like. She's always like middle tier level. Her record is 10-9-1, but she keeps exchanging wins and losses here and there where, she wins one, she loses one, she wins one, she loses one. And now she's lost 2 fights in a row now. So, hopefully this won't be a third straight because that might be her exit ticket from the UFC. But unfortunately for her, this is a very tough fight for her to go up against Kanako Murata, who, coming over from the Risen scene and also the Invictus scene, she's riding a very long win streak right now. She's on 2, 4, 6, 7 fight win streak. Her only loss came to Rin Nakai. If most people remember Rin Nakai, she was actually in the UFC before, but she was seemingly undersized for the weight class, in my opinion. But she did end up rear naked choking Murata in round 3. That fight was contested roughly around 126 pounds, and then we saw Murata drop down to 115 for the next couple fights. And most recently, she had 2 straight victories in Invicta, where she won via split decision. I thought she won. I'm not sure which judge ended up giving it to Emily Ducati. But Murata shows very solid wrestling skills. Even if you look at her IG, she's pretty much in the wrestling room all the time. With that said, she's going to obviously have to do some work with her hands if she wants to make it to the top of the division, as I don't believe that just wrestling will be enough for her to actually, crack the top 5 or top 10. Luckily for her here, Randa Markos isn't really anything special on the feet. She has this weird herky jerky style where she allows her unorthodox nature in her striking to be her advantage rather than being a little bit more of a technical striker. She likes to switch stances a lot. She likes to throw kicks. She likes to be on the outside. But then also we see poor fight IQ from her as well too, which leads me to believe that she might just be more than willing to go out there and go grapple for grapple against or takedown for takedown against Kanako Murata here. She's going to be in for a rude awakening there, as I believe that Murata will have an absolute, a solid jiu-jitsu advantage here and solid wrestling advantage too. We did see Ducati throw up a couple of submissions and maybe get a couple close ones against Murata in their fight. But I don't think we'll see Randa Markos get anywhere near close to completing any of these missions either. I like Murata here. Am I willing to play minus 160 though? Probably not. If you gave me closer to what that bet DSI line, which is around roughly minus 130, I'd be down with that. Minus 120, minus 130, I wouldn't mind putting a little bit of a play on Murata, who seems to show a very strong wrestling game and also solid a gas tank for over 5 rounds. Even though this one's scheduled for 3, we know that she can go out there and do it for 3 rounds if she needs to. She also has a solid jiu-jitsu game in terms of locking up chokes. She has an anaconda choke, a Von Flue choke, 2 Von Flue chokes, actually, and then a rear naked choke as well too, as well as some ground and pound finishes earlier in her career. I like her in this spot. I think she's going to be able to get Markos down at will. the parts where it's going to be on the feet. The activity would concern me a little bit of Randa Markos. However, I'm not worried about any power, any knockout power or anything coming from Randa Markos here. So just as like the other evening with Darren Elkins and Eduardo Garagori, that one was a sweat for as long as it was on the feet for anybody that had money on Darren Elkins there. This one, though, it's not going to be like that. Yeah, Murata is going to get her down. And yeah, Marcos might be able to get back to her feet a couple times. But again, when it's on the feet, I don't think it's going to be much of a concern for Murata, as I do believe she will be able to continuously close the distance, continuously get her paws on Marcos and drag this fight to the ground. So I'm going to go with Kanako Murata to win this fight via... I can see her pulling off a submission or decision, but I'll go with a decision to be on the safe side here. Depending on what the value is on Murata by submission, that might be worth a little bit of a poke. But I do like Murata to win this fight via decision.